Buyers, this is what the NAR lawsuit settlement means for you. The recent NAR settlement over litigation is all over the news. I'm here today to break down the impact of the settlement on buyers, assuming, of course, that the settlement is approved by the court, that will go into effect July of this year. I'm Sally Daly from the Daly Group at Douglas Elliman in Vero Beach, Florida. Let's dive in. As a result of the recent NAR commission lawsuit settlement, buyers purchasing homes in the future, probably July, have several representation options to consider. Is the 6% commission going away, as Clickbait Headlines say? The settlement will create potential changes in commission structure. What do I mean by that? The NAR agreed to decouple commission. That means each party will pay for their broker representation. As the buyer, you'll be required to execute a buyer-broker agreement with a buyer agent that governs his or her fee at close of sale of your home if compensation is not offered directly by the seller. In the past, buyer-broker compensation was offered by the listing broker out of their broker compensation. No more. Buyer's broker agreements are like a buyer version of a listing agreement, stating you agree to work together. A specific time in the agreement is set forth, and what are the properties or property included in your representation with your agent, and the fee you will pay at close of sale if the seller doesn't offer to pay for your buyer's agent broker fee. It will be required that you enter into a buyer's broker agreement with your agent and will govern the compensation. In the past, both agents were paid from the listing agent's broker fee. No more. Listing and buyer's agents will still be paid for the representation, only from the party receiving the representation will pay for their own representation. It's the same route. Come July or thereabouts, the listing and buyer's agents will still be paid for the representation. Just who pays it is going to be different. Each party receiving the representation will pay for the representation unless the seller offers to pay the buyer's broker. Two different driving routes, each getting to the same destination. Gone will be the MLS field indicating how much buyer brokerage is offered. Your buyer's agent will have to negotiate his or her fee upfront with the seller. Keep in mind, the buyer-broker agreement can be broad, say homes in Vero Beach, Florida, or stipulate specific zip code or properties. Your buyer agent will no longer know upfront what an offer of compensation on any specific home will be. If the seller doesn't offer to pay your buyer-broker separately or offer you a credit at closing as a percentage or flat fee for your closing costs to cover it, the buyer-broker agreement will obligate you to pay your buyer's agent out of pocket at closing in accordance with the terms of your agreement. Will I really have to pay for my own representation out of pocket? Potentially. It depends on your market. Some sellers may opt to pay buyer's agent or offer closing cost credit to buyers to maintain a competitive advantage. If not, it's important to discuss fees for each home you're considering to understand the cost of acquisition. Traditional buyer's agent representation. Buyers can still choose to work with a traditional buyer's agent who represents their interests exclusively throughout the home buying process. With increased transparency about commissions, buyers can negotiate the terms of that representation and understand how their agent gets paid. Can't I just call the listing agent to avoid paying the fee? If the listing agent is a member of NAR, the new ruling would obligate them to enter into a buyer's agreement with you in order to represent you in the purchase of the listing. The fee that the listing agent would charge you for representation is negotiable and always was, and will depend if the listing agent's agreement allows he or she to represent someone other than the seller. Do I even really need a buyer's agent? Well, limited service or discount brokerages already exist that offer specific reduced services at a reduced cost compared to full service brokerage. While these brokerages may provide cost savings, buyers should carefully review the services offered to ensure they receive adequate support that they need throughout the transaction. Don't want to pay for buyer's representation at all? Well, buyers still have access, as they always have, to online platforms and tools to facilitate home searches, virtual tours, pricing history. While these platforms might not provide nuanced local knowledge or buyer representation, they can be good resources for buyers who prefer a more self-directed approach. Can't afford to pay a buyer's agent out of pocket? Or getting an FHA or VA loan whose terms prohibit payment of a commission to a buyer's agent? Talk to your trusted real estate advisor. Representation in the purchase of what's probably your single biggest asset, in our judgment, is essential. We hope underwriting guidelines for FHA and VA will change to reflect this new mandate. But in the interim, talk with your buyer broker about strategies to get your buyer broker fee paid if you can't afford it, to make sure you get the advocacy you deserve in the transaction. Consulting services. Some buyers may choose to hire a real estate attorney or consultants on an hourly basis to provide guidance and support during specific stages of the home buying process. This option would allow buyers to tailor their representation to their specific needs and budget. Be clear you understand what service you're getting and what you're paying for. E.g., this route would probably not include more than papering a contract. No negotiation, no in-person attendance at inspection, and no negotiation of matters related to that inspection. But for some, that might be a viable option. Overall, the recent NAR commission lawsuit settlement provides buyers with increased transparency over how their buyer's agent gets paid and flexibility in choosing representation options that best suit their objections and needs. Carefully evaluate choices and consider your individual circumstances when selecting a representation model for your home purchase. We're also diving into what services and benefits a buyer receives from full buyer brokerage representation. We'll link that video below. Take a good listen. A good buyer's agent is not a chauffeur or a key opener, but a trusted ally that helps find and secure your ideal house at a price and terms you may not have achieved otherwise, making their fee an invaluable investment that pays for itself in multiples. I'm Sally Daly from the Daly Group at Douglas Elliman in Vero Beach, Florida. If you're a buyer, how does this new purchase process impact your plans? Tell us below, we'd love to know. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you want to be notified when we publish new videos. I'm Sally Daly with the Daly Group at Douglas Elliman in Vero Beach, Florida. Until next time, take care. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way you'll get notified when we produce new videos. And if you want to see more content right now, click to the videos to the left and you'll see more.